Good evening, everybody. How's it going? It's me, Comic Crack. Sick as hell, but there's a bunch of stuff I wanted to talk about. I feel like there's been stuff piling up. I've been away working, and hopefully, we're getting back to a regular week, a regular life, and a little bit of time off. So hopefully, Rasa and I can have a chat again soon. Fingers crossed for next weekend. My daughter had a ultimate frisbee tournament this weekend, so I was sitting outside all day, and I think that paired with the show kind of being pretty much over, my body has just decided to revolt against me and say, fuck you, you need to sleep. So barring sleeping, let's look at some shit. I guess the first thing that we should briefly talk about is no, not that. Hold on a second. Where is it? Here we go. RIP to the space ace, to the 2000 man, to Ace Frehley, the space child. What did he end up calling himself? I know Space Ace. Kiss was a pretty big band for me. I don't have much of their stuff left, to be honest. I had a bunch of tapes. I had a bunch of their records. But as things go, things come and go from the house. Dressed to Kill, one of my favorite Kiss albums. What I didn't realize was his... I don't have all of the solo albums on vinyl, unfortunately. It is something I'd love to get. Out of the solo albums that they did, his, I guess, was the best-selling of the albums, which no idea that was the case. Only have the two. They still have they have the posters and stuff. I would, like I said, like to get the rest of those just to have those posters. Kiss was like, I think for a lot of people, they were a huge band. I don't know, 10, 11, 9, I'm not really sure. Me and a couple of friends of mine, we dressed up as Kiss for Halloween, as I'm sure a lot of people did. And it was fantastic. My first stadium rock show was seeing Kiss live. Was it the Crazy Nights tour? I think it might have been. Was it Anthrax opening up for them? Maybe. I don't quite remember. But that was like my first stadium rock show at the Winnipeg Arena, and it was mind-blowing, of course. Posters of Kiss all over the room. I think it also kind of introduced me to kind of more theatrics in rock music and costumes and things, and, actually putting on a performance of some kind that sort of led through all sorts of different music and even into kind of experimental and noise music. I love kind of that type of performance art where it becomes kind of almost a stage play to some degree. Ace Frehley had a huge influence on a shit ton of guitarists. I followed him through his Frehley's Comet era as well too, and I went back to listen to the first Frehley's Comet album. I couldn't even make it through like 30 seconds of any of the songs. Just does not stand up to the test of time for me personally. But 2000 Man, one of my favorite Ace Frehley tunes. Cold Gin is a tune that he wrote as well. And I guess it's one of those that became such a fan favorite. And then when Frehley got kicked out of Kiss, I guess there was a little bit of extra joy in the fact that Gene Simmons would continue to have to sing that song because it was such a hit. Did I bring my phone down? He wrote a bunch of music for Kiss. Shock Me is the first song that he actually sung with Kiss, though. A couple of others. New York Groove from his solo album it was the big hit off of that album. Ozone is pretty good. I did listen to his solo album. Strange Ways was written by Ace Frehley, sung by Peter Criss. That's another a good one to get a bit of a sampling of his songwriting from that era. Yeah, man. Kiss, R.I.P. to the 2000 man, Space Ace. I guess one of the other things that happened with all of this was when I found out that one of my other favorite bands, or maybe a more modern new favorite band that's been with me for a long time, decades at this point, Melvin's put out a series of solo albums as well too that were rip-offs, I guess, or homages to the Kiss albums. They did the same thing. They did the cheesy posters inside. There was the Melvin's Army, I think, little information in there too. I don't know if they came with anything else. The infamous track on here is Skeeter, that has Mr. Dave Grohl doing a little bit of a story of what was thought to be Kurt Cobain, but I think it's about the singer from the previous band that he was in. I think were they called Scream, possibly. And then last on the vinyl front, Hiroshima. I've talked about in the past. They did one of the newer Merzbow series, that nine album series. There was a box set of it that came out. Unfortunately, it was limited to like 50 copies in this handmade wooden box. I adore those 9 albums. I think they're phenomenal Merzbow work. So I was really looking forward to trying to get my hand on like a box set, collecting everything. No such luck. So I sent them a message to see if there was any possibility they were going to put out anything else, like put that out again, and maybe not such a limited deluxe edition, because I would love to have a physical copy of that. And when I was looking, they had the first CCCC album, Cosmic Coincidence Control Center, re-released on vinyl to like 100 and something copies, 150 copies or something like that. So I managed to get myself a copy. The records themselves are upstairs, but there's some inserts in here I'll quickly show you. I listened to it digitally, and no surprise to anybody, actually listening to the vinyl completely just destroys that experience. Listening to it on kind of a nice volume in the house here. My wife was away in New York. She's coming back tonight, actually, for some union business. Listening to that at kind of louder than normal volumes was really, really incredible. So it comes with a whole bunch of bits and pieces here, reproductions. Yeah, so 110 copies. So number 81 of 110. Hiroshima has some really great stuff. I guess this is early phases of what was going to become the final album art for this first album. And then there's a couple of posters as well too. So there's kind of, I think, the final phase of it there. CCCC are kind of, they're a little bit newer. Oh, what did I do here? They're one of the newer bands, newer noise bands for me. I'd heard them on compilations, I'm sure, in the past, but they were never one that jumped out at me, to be totally honest. Until I just kind of dug into them more, and kind of, I think with some of this stuff, it's very much a mindset, and stuff like this would have possibly had a much bigger impact in person at the time when they were touring, and when this stuff was fresh, when the whole kind of, well, maybe not the whole, but when a bigger chunk of kind of the noise world was still fresh in people's ears. They would have made a hell of a bigger impact. But I love them now, though. There's incredible stuff. I mean, anything that you can find from them, if you're into this kind of stuff, check those guys out. So before we get into kind of what I've been reading this week, I do have a bunch of new stuff to quickly show you and have a quick word about. Not too much of one, though. If I can get that to cooperate. So there we go. Got to keep the hype sticker. There we are. That can go over here. One of the things that came out that I'm most excited about is issue number 2 of Metal Hurlant. Unfortunately, my bookshop had a few copies come in, and they were all a little bit fucked up. So I took the least fucked up one that I could grab. Same thing, still super goddamn thick. a mixture of old and new stuff. 270 pages. Looks like a stunner. If it's even half as good as that first issue, I know I'm gonna love it. Talked about it before. That first issue is easily going to be one of my favorite reads of the year. I just thought it was put together so well. I love the history intermixed with the older works, intermixed with people like James Stokoe paying homage to Mobius's first strip for Metal Hurlant. Just fantastic stuff. I think is it going to be 4 issues a year, 3 or 4 issues a year? I think that the timing on this one is a little better because when I went to pick up my books today from 204 Comics, so my daughter's tournament happened to be in that end of town. So when there was kind of a meal break, I went to 204 Comics, and already issue number 3 of Heavy Metal is out. I haven't even read issue number 2. These are thick affairs as well, too. 230-ish pages. Again, with some gorgeous looking stuff, no doubt about it. The first issue didn't hit me as hard as Metal Hurlant did, though. So I think that kind of stopped me a little bit from digging into issue number 2. I should rectify that, though, because I do remember enjoying some of that stuff from that first issue. Chaos and Comics, how you doing, man? Nice to see you. Yeah, so lots of fantastic looking stuff in here. I just feel like something that's this beefy. I like the Metal Hurlant schedule a little better, just to give you that time to sit and absorb the stuff. It's not something that I can just sit and read in kind of one big chunk. A couple of weeks ago, hit up... where are we here? This one here. Hit up Red River Bookshop with my daughter to check out and my wife to check out it was the first Saturday, I guess, of October that we went down there. The first Saturday of the month, they have the upstairs open. And I love it's been a little while since I've gone to dig upstairs, and there was a couple of books on the main floor I was looking for as well. And I think that's where I got all of these that I'm going to show you here. Some Samurai Jack, Lost World. It was a mini series. Love the Samurai Jack cartoon. Once I bought these and brought them home, I have a feeling that my son might have the rest of this series upstairs. This was one of those books that we were reading together when we would find back issues, because we watched the cartoon together and we're big fans of it. Something called Demon Gun. Bought purely for that cover. The interior isn't as exciting. It isn't bad, but these covers are pretty fantastic. I'll show you a little bit inside. This is from Crusade Comics, with a Bible passage to start you off there. But there's a little bit of the black and white art. So there you go. Don't know what year these are from. Let's see. 1996. Rego Park, New York is where Crusade Comics was based out of. I don't know if they still exist in some form or another, but there you go. Found not 1, not 2, but 3 issues of Paul Pope's 100%. We were talking about Paul Pope very recently, and amazed to see these. So issue number 2, number 3, and number 4. So I'm sure it'll be a breeze to get my hands on issue number 1 of 100%. But I'm really looking forward. I haven't dug into these at all yet. I really want to try to get the entire series. I was sure that I've read this at one point, but it's not in my Vertigo drawer, so maybe I'm wrong about that. Either way, fucking Paul Pope, man. So yes, some Vertigo Paul Pope from, what year was this from? Oh man, probably says on the front of them. Yeah, 2002 for that stuff. This was the reason I went. 420 had told me that there might be some Legends of Mother Sarah books upstairs. I'm still looking to complete the 9-issue series of City of the Angels. They only had 2 issues from that third miniseries. I think from what we found out in one of our last streams, there was 5. I think there was 5 miniseries total. The last couple have not been translated into English. I love this book. Even getting my hands on 2 of them is a fantastic start. There's a look inside there. See if we can find maybe a better page to show off. There you go. So very excited about those. Probably going to have to keep an eye out on Lone Star to fill in the gaps there. You can't go wrong with Viz. This is The Midnight Eye, issue number 5 by Buichi Terasawa. English adaptation by Fred Burke, presented by Viz Comics. What year do we have on this one? Goku Private Investigator. Looks just fucking amazing. There you go. Uh, 1988 for this one. And color as well. And I think, oh yeah, there's a last one, and then there's a double, which is probably going to go into the Rasa stack. So Caliber presents, this is issue number 17. There's a Guy Davis sketchbook in here, which is why I picked up this issue. I'll show you. I think it's from his Baker Street stuff. Yeah, here we go. Some Guy Davis, always worth having. I think there's a couple of more Guy Davis book pieces from some of this Caliber Presents that I still don't have my hands on, but eventually we'll grab them. The completist in me will have to have that happen. So nice one there. And then this was a double, but I mean, how can you say no to Ribbit by Frank Thorne? The only issue that was in there. This is number 3. I've got all this. Was this one also put out by Eros as well, or did this only come out from Comico? There's the back cover there as well. So that's always a good one to have. Some new books that I picked up today. I wanted to try out this new Zatanna's Panic. DC's Zatanic Panic. And the main reason is I saw it on social media. It must have been on his social media. Andrew McLean from Headlopper doing a Swamp Thing and John Constantine story in this book. I thought it was a standalone thing that was coming out, but not the case. Luckily, there looks like there's a couple of other interesting looking short stories in here. So I think I'm hoping that it'll be worth it. At least there's some really nice art in some of the other stories anyway. We'll see how they read. But yeah, that was the main reason I wanted to get my hands on it. Who else do we have here? No names, of course. Let's see if there's a table of contents in the front. Here we go. Some art by John McCrae, Luigi Cavanago, Riley Rossmo, Daniel Bayless, Don Aguilo, Andrew McLean, Rowan McCall, and then Megan Huang are the artists that appear in this one. And even most of those names mean absolutely nothing to me. I'm sure they do to a lot of you, but there's a look at some of the other pages inside there. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Like, that looks all right. So we'll see what that's like. Zatanic Panic. A couple more issues of Gatchaman. It's been a while since I've been to this shop, so there was a couple of things kind of backed up. This is 12 and 13. They're on the pull list. I've got a whole bunch of these now. I haven't read any of that main series. New Sacrificers, right? Issue number 16. Is this a new one? Part 1 of 6. It Will Always Be the Same, part 1 of 6. Yeah, you never heard any of those names from Satanic Panic? Well, there you go. So that doesn't make me feel so bad. So there's the New Sacrificers. Looking forward to that. I believe this is the new seasons. I kind of liked the last issue a little more than a couple of the previous ones, so I'm sticking with it a bit. I think Rasa has ditched them. I can't say no to Adventure Time. This is issues number 5 and 6. Again, the main reason for the Derek Ballard stuff, the backup stories. But Adventure Time is a hell of a good show. Pretty fun comic. And again, in the back issue bin, a random issue of Lloyd Llewellyn by Klaus. I've got this whole series, but again, how the hell can you say no to that for, like, I think it was $2 maybe in that magazine box. So a double of that as well. As I kind of build all that up. And then the splurge of the week. I'm a big sucker for Ra's al Ghul. They had the Treasury Batman, two issues of with featuring Ra's al Ghul. I guess kind of like their first meeting. So it was priced at 30 Canadian, which seemed fairly reasonable to me. What the hell do I know? But this is gonna be really great. Yeah, splurge. I mean, normally I wouldn't spend $30 on something like this, but like I said, I've got a soft spot for the Ra's al Ghul stuff. So it looks great. And just seeing that Neil Adams at this size, I think will be pretty fantastic. There's a bit of a split on the back, on the spine, but nothing too excessive. It's not in mint condition, that's for sure. So I won't feel so bad if I peel that sucker open and I don't take absolute pristine care out of it. So I guess we'll get into what I read. Up here, you'll see Rachel Rising. I'm quite a big dent into that, like a couple of 100 pages at this point. I want to wait to talk to Rasa about that one, though. I did read Caravaggio. It's one of the ones that I got from the Fuck Diamond Fantagraphics sale. Milo Manara is very hit and miss for me. I wouldn't say I'm an uber fan, even though I have quite a bit of his stuff. I love looking at his art. I can't say that one did too much for me. Like, I enjoyed it, but it didn't really, I don't know, it didn't do much for me story-wise. I also didn't realize it was part 1 of a couple of parts, which it doesn't really matter. But the production and stuff is gorgeous on that book, but the book itself just didn't really resonate with me too much, to be honest. So little minor disappointment. Some of the other stuff I managed to get my hands on when I went to Galaxy Comics is my other comic shop where I've got a pull list, and shout out to Jeremy there, and also to Justin, who hasn't been there in a long time, but shout out to Justin as well. Jeremy gets in these collections and he'll kind of bring stuff to my attention. So one of the last ones he got was a bunch of 90s indie stuff. I went in and just kind of took a nice fat stack out and got him to price them. So I went for kind of round 1 of what I'm eventually going to pick up. I'll probably pick up everything that he priced out for me. What I was most excited about was some issues of Palookaville. So I read this is issue number 1, the first printing. I've got the second printing of Palookaville number 1. This is, of course, Seth. And so great to sit and read this again. This is a story of him getting the shit kicked out of him because these thugs thought he was a fag because of his bleached blonde hair. And, he kind of played into it. And it's very... of that era. What is this, 1991? Very much of that time period, storytelling wise, but also kind of the story that he tells. What happens to him within this story is very much of that era, the 80s and 90s. But so really, really great. Hello, 420. How you doing? So fantastic. Sit and read this again. I'm so happy that I've got a first print of this. I've got almost all of Palookaville now. I still am missing a few of the later issues, including the newest one that came out, I don't know, a year ago or so at this point. So, but not much else to say about this. It's Seth. His art is beautiful. There you go. Palookaville #1. Got some doubles of that as well too. Like I said, some of the stuff that he had, even though I already had copies, it's stuff that you can't really pass on. I think Brat Pack was in there as well too. So I got him to price those out for me, and those will be doubles as well. But always worth having something. You know, just give me 1 sec. Riveting TV. Just stare at the filing cabinet for a minute. All right. What else? What else you got? This was again from that same box. Slave Labor Graphics, Rare Creature, issue number 1 and issue number 3. Never heard of it. Slave Labor Graphics is one of those companies that, yeah, right. One of those companies that I think are always worth checking out. I will say that I don't know what to make of this at all. It's 1999, created, written, and drawn by Kelly Seda. 4-issue miniseries. It's mostly silent. Very, very minimal dialogue. I don't know. Is it supposed to kind of mimic Jimmy Corrigan's style of things like Acme Novelty Library? I don't quite know. There wasn't anything here really to grab my attention with these, but like I said, some of this stuff you got to gamble on when it's from some of these companies. But I don't know anything else about that one. Oof. Let's save those for last. Oh man, I'm probably gonna start plowing through this a little bit here, people. It's tough going here. Where the fuck did I get this one? I don't know. Maybe this was upstairs as well too at Red River. This is the Mojo Action Companion Unit. So another Canadian, Mark Bell. This is from a kind of, for me, infamous indie free music newspaper called Exclaim here in Canada. Mark Bell had a bunch of stuff, Shrimpy and Paul, and various little strips. In years worth of that. Mojo Action Companion Unit was also something that he self-published. So I think that even though Exclaim has put this out, this is a collection of some of the better stories from his self-published works. There's promises for other issues. I haven't looked into it online. I couldn't find this. The only place I did look was on Lone Star, and this isn't even listed on Lone Star because I was hoping that I could, you know, use their hyperlink. The way they kind of deal with the publishers, I think, is really fantastic. Makes it easy to see kind of what's come out. What's this guy's name? He's Just a Rat. Is that what it's called? What the hell is the rat? Yeah, he is Just a Rat, issue 2, 3, 4, and 5. So they did put out a few books, but as far as I know, I mean, who the hell knows? This was brand new news to me. It was mostly pretty great stuff. It's Mark Bell sort of doing kind of his Shrimpy and Paul kind of surrealist type of comics, but there's also some sort of proto autobio stuff that do take place Sackville, which is where he was living. I think, what do you say? Is that in New Brunswick? So there's a little bit of autobiographical pieces there about his time living in Sackville. And then, like I said, some Shrimpy and Paul strips as well, too. So great. And I pulled out the other Mark Bell single issue that I have called a HEP that I was going to plan to reread again this week. Keep all that stuff together. Nice to be surprised, even after going through the bins multiple times at that spot. I read this, I feel like weeks ago at this point. Wolferini, this was one of the gifts that I got from Mr. Dan Elsen way back when, which we'll talk about Dan Elsen in a couple of minutes here. But this was from Grixley Comics Presents, a parody of Wolverine. There was a Silver Surfer one that we talked about. We got some Victor Cairo on the back. Love Victor Cairo, Mr. Bald Eagles himself. His have sex moniker, his what he's going with these days. Pretty good. I love all these kind of wild pinups, and there's a little bit of a story in here as well too, which was just okay. I just like seeing the art and different artists' take on Wolverine. Before we get into Grixley himself doing some strips. And there you go. So shout out to Dan Elsen for that one. Facebook Marketplace continues to yield some gold. And the most recent gold is finally getting my hands on all 4 issues of the Steve Niles, Rob Zombie, Richard Corbin, Bigfoot series. And it was worth the wait. This was a great 4-issue mini. Popped up. I check Marketplace almost incessantly. I love Facebook Marketplace. There's so much interesting stuff that pops up, and with all of these algorithms and your phone listening to you at all times, even now, it does start to streamline some things for you and bring things to your attention that people are selling on there. So this popped up. He had a couple of other comics as well too. There was a Robert Crumb Mystic Funnies. Oh, that's where I got that Mojo Action. It was from this guy, same guy. Mojo Action was from him as well too. So I made him an offer for all of the comics together, and he happily accepted them. Works down at APTN, but isn't Derek there 420. It's another guy. Dan is his name. I don't know if you've ran into him in these circles, but there you go. So finally, the Bigfoot 4-issue series, and like I said, absolutely worth it. I think Daryl D had said that it was one of his favorites as well too. Sorry. And I can see why, even though I'm not the biggest Rob Zombie fan these days. Still pretty damn good. Satisfying to the very end. Yeah, may as well let the surveillance profiling work for oneself instead of just whoever. Yeah, I mean, it's happening whether we like it or not at this point, unless we get rid of all of our technology. It's going to happen. This one is another one that I read weeks ago at this time. And honestly, even when I was reading it, it didn't make that much of an impact on me. This is Vertigo Shoot, an anthology. Yeah, Bigfoot was a great read. Sorry, man. Yeah, Bigfoot was a pretty fantastic read, to be honest. And then there was this that caught my attention too, Frankenstein, Steve Niles and Scott Morse. I like that cover. I love that art there. Never heard of this. I wouldn't mind seeing what that looks like inside. Almost has a Martian Manhunter feel, like we've been seeing in the newest series there. But yeah, Bigfoot is very much worth it. Not a cheap book to find. Took me a long time to even get a couple of the issues that I had. I do have some doubles 420, so I don't know if I don't remember if you said that you had all these or not. I don't remember actually. Maybe it was you that, did you have a double, or was that Daryl D that sent me a double, I think maybe. So if you need any issues, just shoot me a message. yeah, so I don't remember much about this anthology. There wasn't really anything that stuck with me, to be honest. Even looking at the names, there's a Constantine story in here. I just, nothing jumps out at me. I mean, that is a couple of weeks ago that I read it, but I guess that tells you all that you need to know about this anthology. Chuck that motherfucker away. Kaya, issue 29 and 30. Another one I'm probably going to wait to talk about with Rasa. For some reason, I managed to miss issue number 28. So I still read 29 and 30 anyway, just to kind of get a chunk of the story. Kaya is a book that you do need to read in chunks. Like, there really isn't much of a reason to pick it up in singles unless, like me, you've been picking it up in singles since issue number 1. This really is a book that reads more like a manga. It has that kind of pacing where I think that it's more beneficial reading a good chunk of it at once instead of kind of going issue by issue. There's a lot of kind of slow spots. 29 and 30 really picked up the pace. We get to kind of the end of this arc with issue number 30. Very curious where the hell this is going to go. So really, really solid 2 issues there back to back. And last but certainly not fucking least of the stuff that we read, TMNT Journeys. And holy shit, man, this is so goddamn good. That was the other book I finally got my hands on. I'll show you that as well too. So fucking good. I love this first issue. I was a huge fan of. The second one doesn't disappoint. It makes sense. I mean, it is, you know, it is Jim Lawson and Peter Laird. John Lawson, I was going to call him. This is Jim Lawson and Peter Laird. The story is really, really good. We got the turtle cock going on in these issues as well, too. Speaking of which, I just ordered issue 2 of the bootleg Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles book, Amnesiac, that focuses on Casey Jones. Can't remember the name of that studio off the top of my head, but they have issue 2 out now, so I grabbed that. Toot fucking sweet, because that first one was so good. Expensive as all hell, but I don't know. I think it's going to be worth it if it's half as good as that first one. So it just kind of continues on. There's a couple of plots going on here at once. We have sort of like a superhero hospital that we get shown. There's stuff happening with a old armored car that is found in the sewers with corpses in there with still money. So goddamn good. This, and then to top it off at the end, we have Krang wanting to, separation accomplished, prepare for phase 2, kind of how our first issue started. So there's a few things going on, a few plots going on at once here. Amazing storytelling. It's right in that era of Turtles that I love. There's a bunch of different covers to this series. These are the ones that I tend to go for. Was this the Lawson? Yeah, this is the Lawson cover. And then of note, also issue number 13 of the main Turtles series. So they're not starting with an issue number 1. They are just kind of continuing on with it. Jean Luen Yang did something called American Born Chinese, Lunar New Year Love Story. And then artist Freddie E. Williams II, who did some Batman TMNT. They joined the Turtles for a game-changing run. So good to know that they're not just going to abandon that title and start with a number 1. I don't know. I might try it out. I loved the last few issues of the Jason Aaron stuff. I thought that arc overall was pretty damn good. Even though it had its moments that were kind of weak. But I think I might want to give that a shot just to see what that's like. And then last but certainly not least, I do want to talk about a new YouTuber that if you are not subscribing to, you absolutely should be subscribing to. It is the one and only Dan Elsen. And speaking of Corbin, Dan Elsen just put out, I think he has 4 videos out now, because there was a new one tonight, I think, that I watched, where he goes through some stuff that Daryl D had sent him and stuff that he bought from Daryl D. Dan Elsen, a fan favorite in the comment section. Look at this. Motherfucker's just right on time. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dan Elsen. I'm really sick here, Dan, so this is going to be a little bit of a speed through, but I do want to give you a huge shout out. So he's put out 4 videos now. The first one where he kind of talks about some comics that he picked up from the Bud Plant warehouse. Another one where he talks about his journey into comics or through comics. He does the one where he looks at House of the Borderlands. And then he talks about the final video, the newest one from tonight. I think you put it out tonight, Dan. Was talking about stuff that you got from Daryl DTV. But I did want to talk about the House on the Borderland video that he did while we talk about his channel in general. So I mean, another guy like the rest of us, kind of in this corner of YouTube, into a lot of amazing stuff. Him talking about the Bud Plant warehouse sounded fucking incredible when he started describing the upstairs and the kind of rare books that they had on display upstairs. I mean, that makes my mouth water just thinking about it. So I'm a fan of this William Hope Hodgson book. I've got the book. I was unfamiliar with it until the Cave Evil guys at one point. They had a game. They're the Cave Evil guys that do a whole bunch of games that we've talked about on this channel. Lurker Magazine, issue number 2. They did a game based on the book called House on the Borderlands. I put some links in the description of this video. You can do a print and play version they have for sale on their site, or you can get a folio edition. So they've kind of released the game on its own. It originally came out in this Lurker Magazine. Very basic rules. It's a solo game. Me and my son have played it together though. And it's a lot of fun, actually. I think they, especially after reading the book, I think they really capture the feel of the novel. And then there's a noise artist, Eviction, that does the art on this one. I think she does all of the art, including kind of the hog people there. So you get the man and his dog, and then his sister, and then around the top, there's kind of moments that happen throughout the game itself where you move that diary marker forward, and that's kind of how you're basing your points on, I believe. But you get annihilated pretty damn quick in this book if you're not careful. Just for ease of play, I printed out a separate copy of that tracking sheet because the original one is on the instruction book. I don't have the cards and the chits and stuff. They're all upstairs in my other, but you do get 2. Which way are we going here? Yes, you do get 2 maps, and in classic kind of Cave Evil style, it's really bleak and dark looking. So you have the house in the middle here, and then you've got kind of the woods surrounding it. There's a trap door somewhere. Yeah, here you can go down into the basement, and then there's a trap door that takes you into the forest itself. So like Dan was talking about in that House of the Borderlands by Richard Corbin there. Similar idea. There's the basement itself too, where these hogs will kind of come and attack you if you're not careful. So that's the tunnel system itself that gets you out into the forest. You can kind of peek through windows. There's all sorts of triggers that happen throughout it. And at one point in the game, or a couple of points in the game, you sort of travel to like this astral plane. And the map itself is divided into kind of these segmented pieces here because you put down a series of cards on top of the map. And that's now the astral plane that you have to sort of maneuver your way through to get back to reality. And you kind of wake up from your slumber not knowing what the hell is going on. So they really do an amazing job of capturing it. With the Lurker Magazine, you get 2 copies because I think of the map, because there was an idea that you could play 2 solo games at once. I think was kind of the intention. but really, really good. But like I said, I mean, Dan Elsen, it's good that I'm amazed that you made a video. I'm glad that my pestering paid off. I'm sure there was other people pestering you as well too, but I'm glad that that paid off, because it's great to see. And when you watch his videos and when you subscribe to his channel, you'll see all of the boxes that he has behind him in his videos. So I can't wait to take a dip into what's there. And as for that House of the Borderland Corbin book, it's next to goddamn impossible to get your hands on. The couple of times that I've seen it, I think I've seen it on eBay. I think the last time I looked, there was one for probably around $100 Canadian. I think that was including shipping in that price. So something that I will have to get my hands on eventually, because, you know, again, completist, got to get the Corbin stuff, but not an easy book to get your hands on. I don't know where that kind of thing sits within DC. I don't know if it has something to do with the William Hope Hodgson estate, or how that would work as far as rights go to kind of maybe reprint that DC book. Maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe they didn't get kind of the official okay to do something like that, and maybe they got in a little bit of shit. Who knows? But like you, I hope that they do eventually put that out again. Really cool, sweet art, and a cool sounding game. What a great story too. Happy I was able to show off the Corbin version. Honestly, I don't know why I finally started making videos. Something just clicked and I decided to give it a try. So far, I'm into it. Yeah, and I mean, you know, you're a natural, so it's good to see that you gave it a shot. I think in your first video, you talk about how it was going to go, and a little bit of nervousness. I think that's all of our journeys into doing YouTube stuff. I just think of those early videos that I did, and it would have been it's cringeworthy probably to go back and listen to some of that stuff. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing more from you, Dan, and hearing what else you have to talk about. Sorry, I blow my nose on camera. With that snotty finale, I think that's it. I'll just show you the last thing that did come from the final thing that did come from the Galaxy collection that he bought. Finally, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles book 4 from the first comics series. So now I've got the first 4 of them. It's color versions of the early Mirage stuff. How does this fold out work? Of course, it has the infamous fold out from the fight scene inside the like mini kind of mom and pop convenience store. We get the fantastic image of Shredder on the back side as well. Let me make sure I fold that in nicely. So yeah, really, really fucking great to have this in my hands. I've read all this stuff. Anytime I start getting some more Turtles, I need to continue with the Mirage series. I'm really excited to read all of this stuff. The New York story there, I'm looking forward to digging into as well. So I've got to keep my eyes out for more Turtles. I think that's it. Thanks very much. There's a couple of things coming in the mail that I'm sure we'll talk about eventually when they get here. But yeah, hopefully we're sort of getting back to normal starting next Sunday. Fingers crossed that Rasa and I can do a chat together next week. And I'm hoping that I get a bit more time to read some books this week and have more to talk to you about next Sunday, including maybe Kamui. I've got to dig into that one yet as well, too. So right on, everybody. We'll talk to you.